Hey guys, welcome back to Mana Down Under. Today, we're gonna do Slimefoot. Now I gotta say, this guy surprised me quite a bit. The deck has a lot more going on than I thought it would. A lot more interactions, a lot more support, a lot more things going on. Now this is just a deck idea. By no means is it not actual deck tech. This is just some cards to highlight that work really well with them. If you want to use them in decks, go ahead. So Slimefoot. 3 mana, 1 generic, 1 black, 1 green. He's a legendary fungus. Whenever a sapling you control dies, Slimefoot deals 1 damage to each opponent and you gain 1 life. But he also has pay 4, create a 1/1 sapling, and he's a 2/3, but yeah. So the deck is built around Sap Tribal, and abusing that ability he's got right there. So we'll just get into it. So Keen Sense is a big payoff in this deck. It's a green curiosity. 1 green mana enchantment. Whenever the equipped creature deals damage to an opponent, you get to draw a card. It's pretty good in that deck, it really is. But now, the next lot of cards. I'm not going to be the first guy to tell you to play Infecting Commander, but it's really easy in this deck. So Phoresis and Glistening Oil are 2 ways to give your commander Infect, and then his ability triggers, you deal 1 damage to each opponent, but he's got Infect, but he dealt the damage, so he gives him Infect. It is quite doable in this deck, so there's 2 enchantments that can do it for you. There's also Grafted Exoskeleton, which is just an equipment staying on the board. And there's even Triumph of the Hordes. So you can actually buff your whole team, swing in, and if they die, oh well, you're doing effect damage, and then the trigger occurs, and do it if you want to win really bad. But people won't want to play with you. Infect is disgusting in Commander. So, pull this in a bit. Now, Spore Mound. So this will be all the generic creatures. The main thing with the saplings are they want to put out a lot of tokens. They really need to keep functional. Spore Mound can go infinite in the deck with the enchantment Life and Limb. You'll see that later on. But whenever land enters battlefield, you get a 1/1 sap. It's pretty good. Landfall, create a 1/1 token. That will keep you going through the majority of the game. Verdant Force just makes a 1/1 sap on upkeep. That's what you need. Plus it's a pretty big body too. Now, all your Thalids, they all do different things, but majority of the Thalids have a sack outlet already attached to them, which is really handy because it helps trigger your commander's abilities. So you got, and most of the old school Thalids, not the new ones, the old school Thalids, they all produce a token on the 3rd Spore counter. So they all generate a counter on each turn, and then on the 3rd counter, you remove it, and you can create a token. So there's a few ways to speed that up too, so you're producing tokens a lot more regular. So you get ones like these 2 fellas here, which are sack a creature, draw a card, good value. So you get to Siphon and you draw a card. Now, Spore Sower, he speeds it up. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a counter on each fungus you control. So he can reduce it from a 3 clock down to a 2 clock. Plus the card, if a Thalid already says put a counter on himself, he can jump up 2 counters a turn pretty easy. Savage Thalid is pretty good in combat because it just says sack a sap to regenerate target fungus, so you can save your producers. Then you got the new Spore Crown Thalid, he's just a lord for the team. Death Spore Thalid, he's good form of removal and form neg power. The foil for that one's actually spiked up quite a bit. I'm not sure why, it's like $30 foil common. These 2 guys are pretty generic, but a 2 mana 0/5 defender which can keep just pumping out 1/1s, not too bad. And actual Thalid, the true Fallen Empires, I'm thinking it was. Yeah, somewhere back in the day. Then you get the Germinator, again, just producing more saps on every 3rd tick. And you can buff the board, we'll buff 1 guy. The Thalid Devourer can be a good finisher. If you have a lot of saps, you can just go big, just smack him down. The Ancient, he reduces the Spore counter down to 2 instead of 3. So again, speeding up the clock. And then you got like the Vital Spore, which just gives you haste. Sometimes you might need that to win. Then you got like Michaeloth, or if you can get a good landing on Michaeloth and you can devour a good enough amount of tokens, he can be putting out 10 to 20 saps a turn. That's pretty good. Tender Shoot Dryad, the new card from Ixalan. Every upkeep, you make a token, and if you have City's Blessing, saps you control get +2/+2. That's very easy in this deck considering how many permanents you can have on the board. Again, the Ancient, another Lord for the Saps and the Tree Folk, which you don't run Tree Folk. But if you can afford the kicker, you can dump out a lot more Saps. Then you got the Hermit here, another Lord, and if you morph them, you can produce a few more. So you can see the deck is just all about putting out a ton of tokens, going to abuse the commander and just win the game. I didn't realize Saps had such good tribal support, not until I looked into the deck. So the Grove Guardian, so again another Lord, but I also can pay 3 to make a 1/1. Then you get things like the Utopia here. He can just sack a Sap, add 1 mana, so you can even ramp if you need to. The Thelion of Havenwood, another Lord, but for the fungus. He can remove a fungus from a graveyard, put a spore counter on each fungus you can play, and yeah, as your dudes are building up army, they get bigger and bigger. Winding Constrictor is very strong in this deck because it's counters of any type, so again it's speeding up that spore counter. Blood Artist and Zulaport Cutthroat are kind of just supporting what the commander's already doing, that siphoning effect on death, so they're good to have there. It really puts your life quite ahead of the opponent's. So, now the next cards are just like a burst spell. They instantly put a ton of tokens on the board when you need them. So Symbiosis will put a Sap into play for each creature you control, so doubling the board nearly. Scatter the Seeds, bang, 3 of them instant speed. Spore Swarm, same thing, 3 of them instant speed out there. And then the Migration. It is 2 mana for 2, or if you got floating mana, make it 4. And then you get weird like utility spells for Sapling. So like Death Mutation is a removal spell at 8 mana, but it can put in, I don't know how many tokens you do. It can put quite a lot if you time it right. Morbid Bloom, 6 mana, but you can clean up a graveyard or something from a graveyard, and you can make quite a few tokens in the process. Now because of the nature of the deck, like every second creature in your deck's got a sack outlet on it, things like Grave Pact and Dictates are very strong in this deck. You can really tax the opponent. They want to play their commander, they've got nothing else on the board, punish them for it. Doubling Season and Parallel Lives are a bit broken in this deck. Double the tokens, quad the tokens, double the counters. If you got the Winding Constrictor, again, quad them. It's very powerful. Life and Limb, this breaks the deck a little bit. So all forests and all saplings are 1/1 green saplings and forests in addition to the types. So all forests become a sap, and all saps become a forest. Now if you have Spore Mound out, one of the early creatures, infinite tokens, just goes off, doesn't stop. Though, you need a way to end the cycle, because it will never stop producing, so you need to be able to stop it or kill your opponent in the cycle, so you don't technically time out. Attrition, I can't say how good that card would be in this deck, it would be amazing. Pay 1, sack one of your sapling, kill a non-black creature, seems good to me. Now, Sapling Burst. So you can remove a Fade counter to make a Sap ring equal to the power of the Fade counters on Burst. But when Burst leaves play, destroy tokens made by Burst. I think it's possible just to rip all 7 counters off it in one turn to get 7 triggers off your commander. I think that could be done. Now, if your commander's got an effect, sure, done. Let me know about that, guys. I think that's doable, I think. Now, I think I pronounce it Sporogenesis. Genesis. It's a 4 mana. During upkeep, you put a fungus counter on a target non-token creature. When it dies, you're going to get a 1/1 sap token. Seems pretty cool. Beastmaster Ascension. It's seen play in every token deck ever, but again, it still works in the saps. Golgari Germination. I like this card. If you get it down early on, it's going to put some good value in across the game. Non-token dies, you get a 1/1 sap. Can't complain. Now, if you can proliferate, so things like Contagion, Engine, and Clasp will speed you up quite a bit. Because you can proliferate again, add those spore counters, get it going. And they're like, when they enter, they can headshot the weenies if you don't want to deal with them, so it's not too bad. Eldrazi Monument really pushes the deck over. The thing with saps, they're not meant to fly, let alone be indestructible, but there you go. And the tax on that artifact doesn't bother you. Skullclamp's your best friend in this deck. Blasting Station and Grinding Station are 2 ways to win in this deck as well. So you can use Blasting Station as a sack outlet to do more damage, or if they've got an infinite life or they're way too far out of reach, mill them. grinding station. It's not that hard at 3 cards apiece. 30 tokens might sound a lot. Maybe it's realistically more like 20, 25. That's quite doable in this deck. That's not an issue at all. So, that's it. It's just a few cards to give you ideas. There's plenty of cards you can still think about. Things like Butcher Malik here if you need another third pact effect. Or Craterhoof. It's been in every green deck though, I shouldn't have to say it. Westvale Abbey would be a good land if you want to, because you can stack 5 tokens, you can get that 9/7 demon. But the land base in the deck's pretty calm, you don't need to worry about it too much. Just some mixed lands, black and green, that's all you need really. But yeah, I'm really digging this little fella, he's pretty good. So let me know if there's any other cards you guys thought of. I felt you just want to go kind of sap tribal with some abusive effects. If you want to, run the infect, but you're probably going to lose your friends. But yeah, tell me if there's any other cards you can think of. And have a good one, guys. Bye. Thanks for watching, guys. Remember to like and sub, and have a good one.